And lightweight listings, Chris Dawe. From the blue corner, scaling 63 kilograms, originally of Gloucester, England, now of Wallsend, Newcastle. Began his boxing career as an amateur in his home country, being successful in 8 of 10 bouts. Coming to Australia when 13 years old, continued his amateur career to be successful 32 times in 45 contests. As a professional, now holds rankings in 3 divisions. Number 4 in junior lightweight, junior welterweight, 5 in the lightweight division, Simon Maidment. Officiating his third.
King Crimson, a 5-2 on favourite as the gates open. He was allowed to loaf out of the stalls by Moran. Back near the rear early, the odds on. Showing pace is Bryburn and takes over on settling down from Rialto Durois going forward. Easing into third place is Stolen Lady. Right around the field going forward quickly is We Like Her. And then Lord of the Jungle 3 deep around Tudor Emerald in the centre. A length and a half further back to Prince Amico. Down on the inside there of Direct Express, Zarora in that group of horses. And there's one other too, Bugatti Boy out wide on the course. About 3 or 4 lengths further adrift then to Goldword. There's a bit of speed on early. They're being followed after a length and a half by Artist Habit, the stablemate, and Our King Crimson is last of all. And just being having its position improved a bit by Moran. He's setting it alight 3 deep around them. By the 1,000 down the riverside, and We Like Her about a half length on Bryburn with the advantage of the inside. Then Lord of the Jungle, Bugatti Boy deep on the course from Rialto Durois. Our King Crimson making that early move and continuing it forward. There's not a great deal of speed on up front. A couple of lengths to Zarora, then Tudor Emerald. Direct Express back on the rails to Stolen Lady now. Then Goldword well back in the field. Prince Amico and Artist Habit is last of all. Well, the speed increased noticeably at the 600 where Bryburn led about a neck only on Our King Crimson, who's made a fast move and pretty early. A length and a half to Bugatti Boy, 2 to Zarora coming into it. Rialto Durois is there. After 2 came Tudor Emerald. The rest are starting to struggle, headed by Direct Express. And a long way back in the field to Goldword as they come to the home turn. Forget the remainder. Into the straight, Our King Crimson sprinted to the lead. He dropped Bryburn. Bugatti Boy running on solidly, and so too is Rialto Durois getting wound up now. Moran's pulled the whip on Our King Crimson. He's nicely clear. Rialto Durois is finishing strongly, and then Bugatti Boy. Our King Crimson getting tired. Rialto Durois starting to pick him up, but Our King Crimson will get there. He perhaps wasn't ridden to best advantage, but he scored. Rialto Durois has run second. Third, Bugatti Boy. Goldword making ground with Tudor Emerald next in. Then Zarora only plotted in the run home from Direct Express. Bryburn knocking up. Then Prince Amico well back in the field. Artist Habit, a long gap then to Stolen Lady. Lord of the Jungle and We Like Her has pulled up a long and distant.
The first of our 2 fight nights tonight. Simon Maidment versus Chris Dawe. That's Chris Dawe in the gold trunks with red piping, and in the plain red shorts is the local boy from Wallsend, not far from here at Cardiff, and that is Simon Maidment. Good left by Simon Maidment, but Dawe comes back, and there's Maidment going underneath and up top. Good left and a right on that, and rocked Dawe a little bit, but Dawe showed in his last fight against Tony Moretta that he can take plenty of punishment, and good straight punching, and he looks pretty good tonight. Is the taller of the 2 fighters tonight, Simon Maidment. This is junior welterweight. Action in round 1 of our 2 fight night out of the Cardiff Workers Club, and toe-to-toe they stand. Great round 1 this towards the end of round 1. Very even round, but Maidment scoring with some good punches, and Dawe looking as though he wants to try and finish this fight early. So great start to this fight.
Peter, already that cockiness of Chris Dawe is starting to become apparent. He's dropping his hands, and we saw him do that against Tony Moretta, and he paid for it. Simon Maidment doesn't punch like Tony Moretta, but he's a sharpshooter with that right hand, and he is starting to nail Chris Dawe with that right.
Okay, only once in his fights has Simon Maidment finished them early, so he doesn't possess a knockout punch, and it looks as though Chris Dawe is trying to walk through the punches of Simon Maidment in this opening round here of the 2 fight night. 17 seconds left in round 1 as Maidment up against the ropes there, and hits Dawe with a right and then a left. A swinging left arm misses by Chris Dawe as he forces Maidment over into his own corner. Maidment's not going to have far to drop his bottom at the end of round 1. Now there it goes, round 1. He's almost there to sit down on it, and Chris Dorr goes back to his corner. Very exciting round one here and a very appreciative audience. Grantley Keezer, the ace boxing writer for the Sydney Daily Telegraph. Jeff Fennick second. And how did you see it?
Pete, I gave that round to Simon Maidment. I thought he was a lot crisper with that right hand. There we are in the corner. Steve Gosson's no doubt telling Chris Dorr to keep his hands up because Chris Dorr gets very, very cocky. You saw that in his fight against Tony Moretta. There in the corner of Simon Maidment. He looks very, very relaxed. He's already showing this fight. He's got that stand-up English style. He's on his bike. He's allowing Chris Dorr to come to him, and he's trying to sit on him with that right hand.
Okay, let's have a look at a replay of the action in round one. Referee in this fight is Joe Keegan, and there's a good right by Maidment, one of the best scoring punches of the fight, and it's already evident that extra reach of Simon Maidment and that right Grantley Keezer is going to be his greatest asset.
It's a terrific punch, Pete. It doesn't carry a lot of power, but already it's starting to command Chris Dorr's respect.
Okay, here we go for round two, and Dorr into the action straight away, almost before Simon Maidment could get his bull-eye pass up from the chair. And there's the left from Simon Maidment. Oh, good right by Maidment.
Chris Dorr is an excellent boxer, Pete, but he does get so reckless. He starts to think that he can punch a lot harder than he can, and I think he's getting a little bit carried away already in this fight. We saw in his last fight he took a savage body pounding from Tony Moretta in those opening rounds.
Well, he certainly loves to fight 3 weeks apart after a torrid bout, one of the most torrid encounters we've seen on Sky's Boxing. Over the last couple of years, it was one of the best bouts we've seen, and they stood and cheered long and loud down at the Canberra Labour Club. But tonight, we're in the pride of Newcastle, the Cardiff Workers Club, for Sky's Fight Night tonight. And here's Chris Dorr working overtime and pushing away Simon Maidment as he chases him, hits him with a left there, then goes bobs underneath and attacks the body of Simon Maidment. Maidment comes back with some round arm body punching, then pokes the left out.
Chris Dorr no doubt feels, Pete, that Simon Maidment can't hurt him.
Yeah, he's certainly walking through them and not being adverse to using the elbow either. There was Chris Dorr as he chases after Simon Maidment. Not all the blows connecting, but there Maidment misses too, but then collects Dorr with a left, and then Dorr comes over the top with a right. He wants to try and finish this early. He may be falling into a trap though. Maidment scoring well too. This is a ding-dong battle here. Round two of this scheduled 8 3-minute rounds here at the Cardiff Workers Club.
Pull your hands there, don't hold.
Hope you're enjoying the action right around Australia on Sky Channel. Thanks to Tui's and, of course, the promoter Bill Morty, working in conjunction with Sky Channel to put on the great Tui's Fight Nights, which have become so popular in the clubs and hotels right around Australia. And Maidment coming back now with a little of the elbow and shoulder there into his punches. Missing with a right. Good evasion there. Oh, great left by Chris Dorr, and he nailed Maidment there right on the left eye.
That recklessness has started to pay off there for Chris Dorr because he just walked straight in with that big left hook, Pete.
Yeah, he certainly did, and he collected Maidment, and Maidment courageously coming back now before his home fans here at Newcastle. But Dorr certainly like an octopus all over Simon Maidment at the moment. Pokes out the left now, and scoring at will now in the latter stages of round two is Chris Dorr. He didn't win the first round, but he's certainly looking good to take out round two and even this contest up. It's certainly a brawling contest there, and there's Dorr again. He's very confident, and as you said, Grantley, showing no respect for the punching power of Simon Maidment, and a bit of a cut starting to emerge over the right eye of Simon Maidment. We'll look at that in between rounds, but there is blood there.
Hey, Chris Dorr is never in a bad fight, even though he's sometimes wild and reckless. I guess that sort of contributes to the exciting nature of his bouts.
Yes, he's certainly very willing, and there's the end of round two, and good scoring by Maidment at the end of the round. Grantley Keezer.
Well, even though Simon Maidment came back at the end of that round, Pete, I'll give that round to Chris Dorr. There we are, looking at the cut of Simon Maidment in the corner. Let's hope it's not too bad. We'd hate to see this fight stopped on a cut.
Yeah, of course, his last fight against Carter at the Seagulls Club at Tweed Heads was stopped because of a cut, but it was a different cut than the one we're looking at now, and his corner working OT there to try and stop the blood flow. Here's Chris Dorr chasing Maidment, and he could see the left coming, Grantley.
Well, he really nailed him with that one, Pete.
He did, but he grimaced, didn't he? He could see it coming.
Yeah.
Didn't do anything to get out of the way.
And that's a very bad sign.
There's Steve Goshen talking to Chris Dorr.
He'll be telling him to keep on that same attack, but not to get hit in the manner that he has, to keep his hands high and keep pumping out that jab.
Okay, very interesting start to our Fabulous night of boxing. Here we go for round 3. Tui's Fight Night brought to you on Sky right around Australia from the Cardiff Workers Club.
Chris Dawe on the attack straight with the right hand, Pete.
Yes,
really nailed Simon Maidment with that right hand.
Yes, he did. And the left has been his best scoring punch. I don't think Maidment was ready for that right go. That's a good left though by Maidment.
That's what you call the sucker punch, the one they don't see coming.
The dummy one.
Yeah. Well, Chris Dawe's determined that Simon Maidment can't hurt him, and he's just walking through whatever Simon Maidment's throwing him. He's really forcing this fight, and it's got to give him points with the judges.
Yeah, it certainly has, and the judges tonight, John Bailey, Billy Males, and John Cauchi for this fight. Good left by Maidment. He's got to get on his bike and make Dawe's work, because Dawe's, as we mentioned several times, had a very tough fight a couple of weeks ago against Tony Moretta, who will be watching down in Melbourne with great interest at his foe of 3 weeks ago, Chris Dawe. And that was certainly the turning point for Tony Moretta's career. Tremendous performance in a draw against Dawe's. But right now it's Dawe back in action against Simon Maidment, and Maidment starting to move around a little bit in this round, not willing to stand there and take the punishment of Chris Dawe. He's going to make Dawe work, and maybe that's his best chance of winning this fight.
Pull his hand out.
Simon Maidment has just got to keep poking out that left jab and shifting his feet, because Chris Dawe is coming in straight ahead.
Yes, and you can hear the fans here, capacity crowd at the Cardiff Workers Club, and they're certainly looking as though they're going to enjoy all the action here tonight, and there's plenty more coming their way on Sky.
I think Simon Maidment beat Chris Dawe nearly 3 years ago. Chris Dawe's determined to avenge that loss. You can just tell by the way he keeps walking forward that he is determined to beat Simon Maidment on his home territory too.
Yes, certainly is, and that would be a big feather in Dawe's cap. He, as we mentioned, he loves to fight, would love to fight every week if he could, and well, he's in superb condition, has to be, with a trainer like Stevie Goshen in his corner.
A few months ago, Chris Dawe was streaking towards an Australian title fight, Pete, but he lost to another local boy at Cardiff, Craig Peavy, and that sidetracked him. He rebounded with that draw against Tony Moretta, showed tremendous heart, and tonight against Simon Maidment, he is determined to win.
Well, only standing room here tonight, and it's a total sellout at the Cardiff Workers Club for the Tui's Fight Night, and what a night it is going to be. There's underneath uppercut there by Simon Maidment, and then Dawe tries to go over the top as he forces him into his own red corner and tries to nail him there, but Maidment having none of that, and gets out of that red corner, which is of course where Chris Dawe is domiciled between rounds tonight. Good right there to finish by Simon Maidment, and that's the end of round 3, and a fairly even round that one. We'll get Brantley Keys' score on the other side of this break. You're on Tui's Fight Night out of the Cardiff Workers Club. 3 rounds of his scheduled 8-rounder gone here. There's Chris Dawe, who is doing very well in this fight. Well, a very interesting round 3. Grantley Keezer.
I thought it was a pretty even round, Pete, but the thing that I like about Chris Dawe is that Simon Maidment isn't phasing him at all. Chris Dawe looks a lot more confident now than Simon Maidment. Simon Maidment in his corner during the break between the rounds seemed a little bit ragged around the edges.
He certainly did. Well, certainly the advice that Simon Maidment is getting tonight is certainly excellent in his corner. One of the all-time favourites here in Newcastle, Charlie Brown, and we've seen him many times. Of course, he was on our first Tui's Fight Night out of the Seagulls Club, and what an epic battle against young Johnson from Queensland, and that was a tremendous fight, and Charlie there giving some advice to Simon Maidment between rounds.
Charlie Brown was one of the most popular fighters in recent Australian boxing history. I was talking to him before the fight, and he watched Roberto Duran beat Iran Barkley on the weekend. Charlie Brown has been banned from boxing in New South Wales because of the age restriction. He's over 35, and he was saying, well, if Duran had to fight here, they'd ban him too because he's 37.
Yeah, that's right too. Good comment from Charlie, who certainly loves his boxing, and was telling me he doesn't feel good unless he boxes a few rounds every day. Anyway, back to this one, and what a beauty it is. 8 3-minute rounds. Junior welterweight Simon Maidment of Newcastle up against Chris Dawe from the western suburbs of Sydney. And I hope you're enjoying the action in your favourite pub and club right around Australia. And we've certainly been getting some tremendous mail from people saying they enjoy the fights right up there at Thursday Island, one of our most popular venues for our Sky Fight Nights, and they're brought to you by Tui's, and we're going to continue showing you all the fights in Australia and outside of it on your boxing station. He's hurt. Down goes Simon Maidment in round 4, and Maidment has gone down a tremendous left, but he says to the referee Joe Keegan that he is okay, but Chris Dawe will come at him now. There's a minute to go. Can he hang on? Gruntly Keegan.
Simon Maidment doesn't look good. He just came after Chris Dawe there, but he doesn't look good at all.
He certainly doesn't. Let's have a look at the action here. Dawe knows that he's got Maidment hurt. There's Maidment, good right, coming back, showing plenty of courage. Then up on the toes, he's got to see out the final minute of this round now as Chris Dawe goes after him. Good knockdown punch by Chris Dawe.
Pete Maidment doesn't have the power to keep Chris Dawe away, and that's been his problem right throughout the fight. Chris Dawe can just walk forward and do what he likes with him.
Yes, he certainly can, and Chris Dawe loves to mix it. Of course, a former sparring partner of Jeff Fennick, but Simon Maidment, good on you, Simon, up on the toes and then gives a bit back to Chris Dawe, and showing plenty of courage too, after being on the deck less than a minute ago, and Simon Maidment showing that the courage that is typified in the Newcastle area, the coalfields of New South Wales, in the Hunter Valley region, and he's got plenty of courage there as he stands up and fights.
But look at Chris Dawe, he's riding all those shots on his gloves. He's boxing beautifully inside. He's taking a lot of those punches on the arms and gloves.
Listen to the fans, and they stand and applaud Simon Maidment, and he loves it too. And Maidment, tremendous courage there in round 4. Good round though for Chris Dawe.
Great round for Chris Dawe, Pete. Simon Maidment looked really badly hurt when he hit the deck, but to his credit, he came back. There's Stevie Gosson in the corner telling Chris Dawe to just keep pouring it on, keep putting on the pressure, because Simon Maidment can't hold you off. That's what he's saying right now. Simon Maidment can't keep you away, just keep walking straight through him. That was a 10-8 round to Chris Dawe. He put Maidment on the canvas, and Simon Maidment didn't look good at all.
He certainly didn't.
In the corner now, he looks a beaten fighter, really. I hope he can come back from this, because he is a gutsy guy, but in the corner,
let's have a look at the replay. Here it is. Let's see what the punch was that did it. Well, we didn't get a real good look at it there, but there was Dawe's going over the top of him. Maidment looking up. This is a better angle. There it is.
Left hook, right button.
Beautiful angle on it. Good on you, fellas. And a tremendous angle of that. And it was the left, as we called it. And down went Chris Dawe. Here we go now for round 5. Maidment underneath, and certainly found the mark, but Dawe now bobbing and weaving.
Simon Maidment's really going to have to pull something out if he's going to beat Chris Dawe now. That's losing all those points. He's really got to do something dramatic to win now.
Well, he certainly started this round 5 well. As you say, Grant, he's not hurting Dawe, but they're good scoring punches. Now we've got Chris Dawe hammering away underneath. Good touch. Good left under, right underneath, uppercut, another one.
Simon Maidment's in trouble again, I think.
Yeah, he is. I'll be surprised if we can see this one out. Underneath now is the tactics of Steve Goshen for Chris Dawe as he chases after Maidment in the neutral corner above us in our commentary position. Maidment, though, not done with as he fights his way well out of the neutral corner and then nails Dawe as Dawe comes in. But Dawe walking through the punches of Simon Maidment. This is round 5 of the scheduled 8-rounder here tonight. Junior welterweight contest between Simon Maidment and Chris Dawe.
Maidment's showing a lot of heart, Pete, but he's not showing a lot of strength, and that's going to be his downfall in this fight. Chris Dawe is just walking through him. There he goes again with that left hook, and one of those is going to land and put Simon Maidment on the canvas again, I'm sure.
Well, he's certainly going underneath better in this round is Chris Dawe, adding a little bit of variety to his punches. And